Okay, so today what we're going to do is add the list of disconnections for non-payment for Energy Australia into Airtable. And these usually come on the back of the letter drops. So we'll do the letter drops, then at the end of that week of doing the letter drops, Energy Australia or Scene, they will send us a list of the disconnections that need to be done from the people who have not responded to the letters that we dropped. So the letter drops I think we got was 160, something like that. And as you can see, there's a lot less. So a lot of people have paid, but there's still a few people who haven't paid or haven't sent their customer details through. And for those ones, we need to disconnect them until they contact Energy Australia and set it up. So this process is usually will involve taking this list that they send us, comparing it against the results from the letter drops that we did of that week, making sure that we did drop the letter, and if we did, disconnecting the power 1 week, no sooner than 1 week after. Okay, that's why it has Stephen to confirm, because I need to confirm that the date that the letter was dropped, then 1 week after that, ideally, we disconnect the power. So to start, this is the email that they will send us, just saying, hi, please find a list. We are proceeding with disconnections from Tuesday, each one to be completed 1 week after. Usually it will come in a table. Sometimes it will come in an Excel document. But either way, doesn't really make a difference. I'll show you what we do in both cases. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up a new Microsoft Excel document. Okay, so just open that up, and then where's my list? Here we go. What I like to do now, if it's a table, I will copy this whole list. Control C, copy. Open up my Excel document and paste it into there. Let's just expand these columns. Yep, so it should look something like this. Now, if the email comes with a Microsoft Excel attachment, you can just open the attachment, and that attachment will look pretty much identical to this. But in our case, it came as a table in the email, so we just copy this table into a new Excel document. All right, so once we've got that, next thing we want to do is open up Airtable, our app sheet view, so we can see all of our jobs. And in the ad hoc jobs section, if you go down, you should be able to see a letter drops completed, this view here. So you want to click on this view here. And once you're open in this view, go up to the filter and change the date required to the first date of this week of letter drops. So for example, Energy Australia, we did the letter drops for them this week from the Monday on. So I will do the date required is on or after Monday the 10th. Okay, and that will change depending on what week you did the letter drops. You need to make sure you do this so that you're not mixing up the jobs or getting the wrong letter, because you might get, if you don't change this date and there was a letter drop for the same meter in a week before, then you're going to have the wrong date and you might have the wrong result. So make sure it's the week that you did the letter drops where it's concerned. So I'm going to go the 10th. That's all I need to change. And in here, I'll have date required, date completed, if there's an abort reason, any comments, photo modified, etc. So once I've got that, I've changed the date. I go up here where it says letter drops completed and click on that. And I just want to go download CSV and click that. And what that's going to do is that's going to download this sheet as a CSV file and open it up like that. So now I've got this as a Excel in an Excel file, basically. Okay, so what we're going to do, I'm going to just move this to the bottom and move this to the top. And what I want to do is I want to do a VLOOKUP for each meter number in my disconnections list and compare it to this, use this meter number here and look up the date that the job was completed. Okay, and just see if it's in here. So what I'm going to do, my first cell over here, to the right of this first row, I go equals VLOOKUP tab, click on the meter number, comma, select my table array. So my table array, I'll be looking in the table in this ad hoc jobs letter drops completed document. I highlight from the meter number, the column with the meter number, click and hold and drag all the way across. You can just go to the table. I like to go a little further just for no reason. Comma, column index number. So whatever column I want the date. So whatever column the date is, that is the column number I want. So this is column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Column 13, comma, and then down, arrow, false, tab, enter. And here I've got the Excel number signifier for the date. So if I go into home and I change my format, I can go to short date, and that will now be the date that it was completed. So I want to do, I've got my date. Now I want to copy across. So I've got my date, but what I want to find out is if it was completed or if there are any other notes, you know, like a skip reason or a comment. So I highlight this, copy that, escape, click to the cell to the right and Control V, then right, Control V again. So I've got two more here. Now, instead of doing 13, which is the date, I want to go 14, which is the next column across, which is the abort reason. So I'll go column, change that to 14, and then change this one to the abort comments, which is 15. Okay. And what I can do now is, so we've got our first VLOOKUP is, our VLOOKUPs are all looking at the same table, which is this Excel document. This one is the date, which is column 13. The next one is the abort reason, which is column 15. Yeah. And this one is column 15, which is the reader abort comments, just any comments that they've put in. Okay. So I'll highlight these three, click, hold, and drag all the way to the bottom. And now I should be able to get some more information. Okay. So first thing I want to check for any NAs. If there's an NA in this list here, that means that there is no meter number. So in here, the meter number, whatever meter number, so for example, this was an NA, whatever this meter number is not in our list here. So you may want to investigate that. You can, you know, go into search jobs and you can look for the meter ID and just see where the job is, see if it's in here somewhere. It could be that it was missed, it could be that it was deleted, it was cancelled, something happened. If that's the case, you know, you just have to close it off as no letter drop completed. But just you kind of get to that if you come to it. But you know, most of the time, it could also be that the meter number here doesn't match what's in the system. Maybe they've used a different meter number. You know how we have the meter number and the serial number again, that could get mixed up. So again, there's a couple of reasons, but just do your best to try and locate that job in one of the Airtables and find out why there isn't a letter drop. But if a letter drop wasn't done for whatever job that has an NA, then you would just close it off as no letter drop completed. Okay. Now, as you can see, none of these have NAs, so we're all good. However, there are a couple that have 1900 dates. Now, if you see a 1900 date anywhere in Excel, that means that the value is 0. Okay? Whereas in, you know, the ones with a normal date, you know, you have this 45,000 number because it's roughly around what this date signifies in Excel. Anything that's 1900 is a 0. So for us, that means that there was no complete date on the job. And you can see here that that's corroborated by the fact that there was no tech in the area and we couldn't complete the job. So for this one here, Vivid, it was in Wollongong in New South Wales. So we weren't able to get anyone out there, and we closed that off as no tech in the area, unable to complete. For this one, we had the cyclones, and no one was able to get to Queensland during the week to get to that area. So for both of these, when you have one that has not been a disconnection request, that has not had a letter dropped for it, I'll usually go across here. So we'll get rid of the date required from here. We'll clear that out. And we'll clear out any special instructions. But what I'll do is I'll leave this empty, and in the special instructions, I'll put no letter dropped. And for this one as well, I'll put no letter dropped. Okay. And then we leave the date empty. Cool. So now what we'll do is we'll have a look at these, any more notes. Other comment, BM not answering, wait around for 10 minutes and called again, no response. Okay, so here we can see that there was no letter dropped. No letter dropped. BM didn't respond, didn't answer, something like that. So, and the reason I'm putting it in special instructions is because, again, these are the 4 columns that we're going to be copying into Airtable, just like with the letter drops. So this will remind me that we'll be probably cancelling this one. Okay, so BM not answering, wait around for 10 minutes, called again, no response. Customer not home, letter left in door jam, that counts. So if we leave it in the door jam, that counts. Vacant shop, we've left it, but the shop's vacant. Handed to resident, directed to customer. They confirm they will contact scene ASAP. Well, that's just a lie. No one in attendance. Resident came as I was leaving, told him about letter. Resident not home, left letter, and that's it. Okay, cool. So that's it. So you can see the rest of these not in attendance letter dropped. So these are all dropped successfully. And except for 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So now we have our dates, and if you recall, each is to be completed 1 week after the letter drop. So what we need to do is we need to take these dates, these completed dates, and add a week. So add 7 days. So I would go in our formula here, where we've got this. I just go to the end and I go +7, enter, and I copy this down. And you can see that has added. So from the 18th, we've gone from the 18th to the 11th. Okay, I copy that all the way down. Again, this one we can delete because it's 1900. It's a 0. This one we can delete, and the rest we don't. We keep. So what I do is I'll go highlight these, Control C. And in here, Control V. Oh, no, not Control V. Control C. And what do I want to do? Well, we'll paste values. And then we'll Control Shift V. So we'll paste our values. And then we want to change the date to short date. Again, like this. And you want to make sure it's in this format. Okay, it always needs to be date, month, year. Okay. Now, what have we got here? So we've copied our jobs in. We've found the date that they were completed. We've weeded out any that weren't that didn't have a letter dropped. From the date that was completed, we've added 7. And we've copy and pasted our values of this date into here. And we've changed the format to here. Okay. Good. So now what we want to do is we take these 4. I'm going to Control C, Control V. Let's do a copy paste. All of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Control C, Control V. What we need to do from here, we take our 1, 2, 3, 4 columns all the way down to the bottom. Control C, copy these. You want to open up the Energy Australia Airtable. Okay. Now in your views, there should be a skill tech view, and it will have EA mass add jobs. Okay, so you want to click on that. Now right now it is empty. So what you want to do, just add a single job here. Okay. Click on the first cell here, which is meter ID, and you can see we've got meter ID, service required, date required, special instructions, meter number, service ID, date required, meter number, service required, date required, special instructions. It's the same ones. So we've copied this, and in our meter ID, Control V, to fit, you'll need to add 34 more records. I would like to expand the table cells so that they will all fit. Continue, and kaboom, and they should all drop in like this very nicely. Yeah. Now, the first thing you want to do, as with the letter drops, you want to check and make sure that they all have an NMI, that they all have a site. And again, this goes back to what we were discussing with the letter drop jobs. Sometimes they use the meter ID that starts with 000 instead of the serial number. It depends on the job, but again, just try your best to find it. And if you have any qualms or anything, you can always contact Energy Australia. Open up a comment and just say, "Scene, please confirm this is the correct property," something like that, or correct meter, something like that, and hold off on sending that job through. You're always better off to not send a disconnection out than to send one out and be unsure about it, because once you disconnect it, if it's the wrong one, you're in deep shit, really deep shit. We do not want to disconnect people unwarranted. So yeah, always go with a bit of caution on that aspect. But yeah, as you can see here, they all link up to a CSL NMI, and they all link up to a site. And if you're worried at all, again, we do the same thing that we did with the letter drops, where we take our CSL NMI all the way to the bottom, Control C, go back to our cell, our table here, and Control V, and compare them. Equals the CSL in our table equals the CSL in Airtable here. True. Copy that all the way down. True, 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 true. And that is how we have double checked this. This table that they've sent us corresponds exactly to the table here. And that's it. Now all of our jobs are in. We've added them. If you look at the assigned jobs, you can see that there are 2 here that don't have a date. Again, these are the ones that we weren't able to do. So what we'll probably do is not complete them and just say that as here, no letter dropped, and then they can be reissued the following week if they're still out, and hopefully they can get to them. But yeah, so we've got our dates here, and try to get them done on these days. We can delay them by a day probably. If we can't get to them, sometimes you get an influx of work. The guys can usually do around 20 a day in total. So, amongst all of them, I'd say. So just see how you go. But yeah, again, if you do reschedule them, remember, do not reschedule them for a Friday, and do not reschedule them for any public holidays. Okay. These are for non-payment. We can't do them before public holidays or on a Friday, on public holidays. No, we can't do them, before public holidays or on a Friday. I'll clarify that. So obviously, the day before there is a day off, as we need to give them an opportunity to pay and then do the job, the reconnection if it comes through. So the day before public holidays and the day before the weekend. Can't do them. So just keep that in mind. And that's it.